Alright, it's time to start my Ratchet and Clank A Crack in Time review. A Crack in Time is a future to quest for booty and tools of destruction. Not really going to go too much into the plot here. I'm just kind of going to talk about the game. A Crack in Time, really to be honest, was the second game for the PS3. Now, a lot of people thought this would be the last game for the Ratchet and Clank series, and Zomniac was kind of hinting that they want to kind of move on to other interests. Although many fans were happy and Zomniac decided, hey, that's great that you put Ratchet and Clank on the PS3, but what's next in your guys' future? They really don't know what's next for their future. They kind of just said, whatever, they don't know. So Ratchet and Clank, this was supposed to be the last game. Now, this game is one of the first Ratchet games and the first in the series. The future series is actually the first ever to, have continuous plots throughout the whole games. And what I mean is, Ratchet and Clank 1 and 2 and 3, the original 3, they didn't really have continuous plots. They would have some points, but it wasn't ultra, super continuous. These ones had continuous storyline plots where you had to play the previous game at most to really understand what was going on in the story. Now, in this game, pretty much with Ratchet, the gameplay for Ratchet is pretty much the same, except though you don't have Clank with you for most of the game, and Clank normally in the games is used for Ratchet to as like a boost. He's used with Ratchet as a boost. Sometimes like the double jump feature comes from Clank or the gliding feature comes from Clank. This time you don't have Clank, and instead you get hover boots that are given to you by a certain character that I will discuss about later in this review. Get hover boots, and with this, Ratchet moves much more faster. You can explore the worlds much more faster. So really, to be honest, it was pretty cool. I really did like the hover boots. The weapons in this game for Ratchet are kind of lame, to be honest. They just felt like rip-offs from the last game. And some of the weapons were actually in the last game. They only added at least like 5 new weapons to this game. So kind of disappointing on the weapon features there. So just my personal preference. I didn't think the weapons were that great. We kind of move on, to the whole, aspect of the worlds. And you guys know I love worlds and exploring in these Ratchet games, and they took that to a huge new level. In this game, they decided, like an RPG type fashion where you're flying in a spaceship and you pretty much fly around and you can explore different moons, galaxies, do spaceship battles, real-time spaceship battles, and this was a cool concept, and I really did like exploring this world. Although sometimes the exploring could get repetitive and some of the worlds could get annoying, like the moons. It wasn't really that bad. I really didn't like it. I kind of wish the galaxies were a little bit bigger, though, and there was more to do after, certain explorations. Other than that, Ratchet's gameplay pretty much is the same. You have the wrench that you can throw or use to hit your enemies and the weapons. We move on to kind of Clank's gameplay. And Clank's gameplay, I'm not going to say it was terrible, but it can get frustrating at times. So with Clank, you're separated from Ratchet throughout most of the game, and pretty much you have to solve these mini puzzles where you have to play with time. Clank actually gets a weapon in this game where it's a little time wand, and it's pretty much used like Ratchet's wrench. You can fix stuff with this time rod. I forgot what it's called. I just know it's a time rod. Clank also gets time bombs, pretty much like Ratchet's regular grenades, except he can throw them and slow down time. Pretty useful, especially against certain bosses when you have to play with Clank. Overall, though, when you kind of, play with Clank, play with Ratchet, and you get the feel of it all, like, okay, yeah, this is a new Ratchet game. The Clank gameplay, like I said, it's kind of disappointing. It's just like these stupid little puzzles, and none of the puzzles are really too hard, but they can get frustrating at times. And with the Ratchet, it's just kind of like, it's the same old Ratchet game. It didn't really bring too much difference from the last game, which kind of like peeved me a little bit. Not to mention, even though there's a lot of exploring to do, some of the worlds are very linear. There's not much to explore in these worlds. Some of these worlds can become very linear really fast. And I don't know. This Ratchet game, to me, the plot, it kind of ended in a weird way and had some characters that I really liked turn into characters that I ended up despising. Dr. Nefarious. I love Dr. Nefarious in the third game. But in this game, he kind of just felt so like other Ratchet villains. There's no rhyme or reasoning into what he's going to do. Tachyon, what was his rhyme and reasoning in Tools of Destruction? Oh, he wanted to build his robot empire back, but his main focus was getting rid of a Lombax. One Lombax in the whole universe. That was his main goal. That is a dumb goal. At first, Nefarious, his plan was to turn everyone into robots so that way he could rule the universe. So that way he could, just like, what's it called, be the king, and so people can finally feel the pain of him becoming into a robot. Nefarious, literally, to be honest, did not have that. His mindset was to get rid of Ratchet and just to destroy planets just because. It wasn't to like rule the world like he used to. It didn't have anything definitive. He was still funny in this game, but it wasn't really that good. Then when we kind of move on to Alistair, and he is the most hated character for me. I hate Alistair. I know many people may like him, but I hate him. He just complains. He's like, Ratchet, we gotta save the Lombaxes. The Lombaxes, Ratchet! And it's like, dude, can you shut up? And when you find out, Alistair, he's the one that got rid of the Lombaxes in the first place by bringing Tachyon to the planet. It's like, you're getting mad over something that you did in the past. And I like the message in the game. Sometimes you gotta leave some stuff in the past, but overall, Alistair's just an so annoying character. He only cares about one goal. And during this whole time, it's not like Ratchet is significantly attached to Alistair. It's not like Ratchet listens to Alistair half the time. Most of the time, Ratchet's just like whatever to Alistair. I mean, the only moment where you feel significance that Ratchet would, feel towards Alistair was when he talked about, oh, you look just like your father. Ratchet never really had significant pull towards Alistair to really follow with Alistair's plan. Because once Clank came back and Clank talked about the Great Clock and how it works and how time travel is not really that special, Ratchet wasn't torn between it. He wasn't trying to convince Clank. He was like, okay. And it's like Ratchet's character did not care about a lot of things in this game, and that was kind of annoying. It was just like felt like Ratchet was going through the motions, like, oh, I already saved the world, let me save the world again. It was really boring. Besides the characters just being not as good as they used to be, Clank and Captain Quark keep their same form, but the boss fights in this game, they're pretty damn good. The boss fights, I would say, are one of the best boss fights that they did for a Ratchet game, especially the final boss, and I'm not going to spoil who it is, but really, to be honest, Ratchet and Clank Tools of Destruction, it has a great concept behind, not Tools of Destruction, Crack in Time, has a great concept behind it, has a lot of good side quests, side missions, side planets to do. It has a lot of content, unlike most Ratchet games. It's just that sometimes the worlds feel linear, and the characters kind of just feel really lame half the time. They don't really feel like the fun, lovable characters. And it's not as great of a plot as a lot of people make it out to be. It's kind of very linear, gets dull. So, in all honesty, Ratchet and Clank: A Crack in Time, fun game. Definitely check it out if you are a huge Ratchet fan. But I really don't think this was a great send-off to Ratchet, or was it? Oh, God. Anyways, Ratchet and Clank: A Crack in Time gets a B- from me. This is Chase Oliver 60, CO Live Videos. I hope you guys enjoy. Check out Chase Oliver 68. That's my sports channel. Comment down, description box down below. My Twitter, Chase Oliver 68. I'll see you all later for Ratchet and Clank All for One. Why? Why?